Red Dead Redemption 2 is a marvel. It boasts some of the best graphics and details in gaming, has a rich, deep, and vibrant open world, teeming with discoveries to make, things to do, and that isn't even mentioning the phenomenal story telling a tragic tale of outlaws with a plan. But that isn't what we're talking about today. No. Instead, we're going to discuss the other half of the Red Dead experience. Red Dead Online. After a year of no content updates, or any communication from Rockstar, and an entire Twitter campaign, Rockstar have announced in their most recent newswire that the Red Dead Online will no longer be receiving major themed updates as it has since release, and as its sister title, Grand Theft Auto Online, will continue to receive. I honestly can't say I'm shocked to hear this. It's been really clear this past year that Rockstar just don't care about their most recent online game. They have continuously ignored pleas from the overly dedicated community, refused to speak on anything the game had coming, and simply ignoring the Save Red Dead Online hashtag movement that saw many of the Red Dead Online, Red Dead Redemption 2, and GTA players, and content creators also, begging Rockstar to at least let us know what the hell is happening with this game. And with the most recent news, I can't help but feel that after a long, drawn-out downfall, Red Dead Online is finally dead in the water. On a newswire post uploaded on the 7th of July, Rockstar posted the following newswire, outlining what is coming this summer and beyond for both GTA and Red Dead Online players. And while the first half of the post goes into what GTA players are getting this summer, which includes new expansions to the game's careers, contract missions, and long requested balancing changes such as the Oppressor Mark II, Red Dead Online came with a rather insulting message, and I'm just going to read it all out here. Over the past few years, we've been steadily moving more development resources towards the next entry in the Grand Theft Auto series, understanding more than ever the need to exceed players' expectations and for this next entry to be the best it can possibly be. And as a result, we're in the process of making some changes to how we support Red Dead Online. Firstly, with both new and experienced players engaging in the wealth of activities already added to this massively rich world, including specialist roles, story-based cooperative missions, competitive showdown modes, and much more. We will continue to showcase these unique additions through Red Dead Online's monthly events as we move forward, so players of all levels can enjoy everything the vast frontier has to offer. Alongside seasonal special events and experience improvements, plus other changes to enhance and maintain a healthy Red Dead Online environment, we plan to build upon existing modes and add new Telegram missions this year, rather than delivering major themed content updates like we did in previous years. And we will continue to highlight and share the creative efforts of our Red Dead Online community at every opportunity via the newswire and beyond. So I don't think I really need to point out what's wrong with this message, but I will anyway. Firstly, they say that because GTA 6 is in production, it means they can provide major updates, as has been the norm for both GTA and Red Dead Online ever since they released. But they can still release updates for GTA Online, the very game that GTA 6 will be replacing, or at least I hope so. Secondly, they say there is a wealth of activities in the game already, and while we have some good updates in Red Dead Online's lifetime, compared to its sister series, or any other persistent online game over the last couple of years, it's received sorely little, including the fact that it's been a year since an update of any kind. So my main gripe with this update is it shows Rockstar's clear lack of care or attention to their community. Sea of Red Dead Online has been trending on and off for months now. Every creator and many players who enjoy and engage with this game have been crying out for things to do, things to buy, or things to engage with. Or at least things that aren't the same batch of stuff that most active players have been doing for at least the last year. And to see that the reason we don't get any content for Red Dead, this game, is because of GTA, a series that realistically shouldn't impact Red Dead Online's efforts in terms of development, it's just an insult to those who love and support Red Dead Online. So, no new content for the foreseeable future. But what is there to currently enjoy in Red Dead Online? Well, assuming you're a new player or starting a whole new character, this is what we got. Firstly, there's the free off-the-bat missions. We have a decent set of story missions relating to Jessica Leclerc and her hunt for revenge, which, while fairly simple, is fun, engaging, and teaches the basics of combat and mission structure for most of the game, which isn't really saying a lot, but you know. They also pay decently with bonuses for first time completion, but the story is, as of now, unfinished, with the story lacking its conclusion. You have 4 main targets and only 3 are now currently taken care of. So that's great. And as a result, it just sort of ends with the expectation of us as a player being contacted again in the future. Then we have stranger missions. One of, if not the first mission type in the game. These are simple missions where you find a character, usually from the main games, both Red Dead 2 and Red Dead, who will give you a task to complete. Delivering mail, wagons, doing rescue missions, and transversely robbing wagons or coaches and killing people, like hits. These are ridiculously simple and can get tedious after a while, but pay a decent amount of gold bars, which you shouldn't even get me started on. That's an entire different topic for another day. Then there's blood money missions, which is from the game's most recent content update, the blood money update. These are a bit convoluted, but basically you do missions for Guido Martelli's associates for the chance to find Capitale, a third currency, while looting bodies and chests within missions. It's not even a standard reward for the mission, but you have to find it in the mission itself, which isn't an objective of the mission. The missions themselves basically being a variation on the standard stranger missions, and once you collect enough Capitale, you spend it to complete bigger jobs, where you have to steal 3 different diamond stones for Guido, and he pays you a alright amount of money for the effort. I'll be honest, I despise these missions. I find them to be simply hateful, boring, and overly tedious. But I still suggest trying them out as a first time player. I always stand by the fact that they should have been one of the first updates to come out, but alas. I'd be remiss to not mention the slew of different PvP game modes called showdowns, where you have the standard deathmatch and objective based game modes like capture the flag and capturing territory, as well as PvE survival missions, which are admittedly quite fun. There's also races, but the less said on them, the better. Now this isn't a great start, but we're getting to the good bits. Probably the best batch of content in the game for fun, for immersion, and for having good crack. It's gotta be the roles introduced in Frontier Pursuits, Moonshiners, and Naturalist. These all require gold bar purchases to unlock and participate in, which can be a bit grindy at first if you don't want to spend the money, but it's worth it for the effort for most of them. All of the roles offer upgrades to your character, different emotes, cosmetics, and role-specific horses to engage with and get bonded to, as well as a nice little batch of role-specific equipment. So I'm going to do this in a chronological order of when we got them. So going over the first batch of roles that we got, which came in Frontier Pursuits. Firstly, we have the Bounty Hunter role, arguably the most action-packed of all the roles, which, quite self-explanatory, sees you become a bounty hunter and hunt people throughout the world in a manner not overly dissimilar to the single player's version. However, they're a lot more random and procedurally generated. The bounty targets or bounty missions that you have vary in difficulty and are usually quite fun. And as you rank up in the role, you unlock legendary bounties that are really unique and fun, seeing you take out higher profile targets that usually have their own backstory and a set piece style of mission. For a lot of them, it's decent. It's not a lot, but it's there. It's a really good time with friends, and it's the only role to actually give you gold bar pieces as well as cash. All the other roles simply offer cash, which isn't great when a lot of the economy runs on gold bars, so that Rockstar can take all your money. You can also unlock a bounty wagon through this role that gives you the ability to store multiple bounty targets for transport back to the sheriff's offices. Bounty hunting is also the only role to get a true expansion, if I could even call it that, where after you reach the initial level 20 cap, you can buy an additional 10 levels, unlocking more unique missions and upgrades. This also costs gold, and the missions you get and the upgrades you get are minimal and some extra legendary bounties, which aren't even the best ones. Next up we have the trader role, which at the start was my favourite role in the game. It's one of the more enjoyable grinds I find. In this one you're based at your camp as a business partner to the resident camp asshole Crips, who you work alongside with to establish a trading business. In this role you'll be doing a lot of hunting to collect animal parts and skins that you can then turn over to Crips at the camp, that he will turn into product for you to subsequently sell off to buyers all over the frontier. It allows you to unlock the best camp upgrades as well as a dedicated hunting wagon for easier storage of pelts and carcasses while out in the wild. Then there's the collector role, which I have to say is one of the most boring and uninspired roles in the game. Although it is one of the best cash payouts in the game when you collect the full sets, thanks to the interactive map, this role can be tediously easy. In the role you find Madame Nazar, who gets you set up as a collector and tasks you with finding sets of different collectibles throughout the map. You can then sell those completed sets to her for big payouts, and I can't say much else about it other than it's where you collect some rare artifacts. For what it is incredibly boring. It is basically a collectible hunt backed into your role. Most of the role specific items are things like a shovel or a lantern that detects metal. There's also some cool cosmetics, but On the other side of the content spectrum, we have the Moonshiners role, which came with its own dedicated update and features the player teaming up with Maggie Fike, an accomplished moonshiner, in starting up a moonshine business, which features its own dedicated story missions, which are pretty fun. They're pretty cool. It's separate from the main story missions with Jessica Leclerc, but it adds some good backstory to Maggie and her whole deal. It features Red Dead Online's only permanent property, the Moonshine Shack, as well as the most passive money-making method in the game, which isn't saying a lot, but it's there. What you have to do for this role is mainly that you have to give the brewer Marcel ingredients and pay for the mash, and then you have to wait about an hour to sell the moonshine. The sell missions have a couple of unique twists compared to the trader, where you have to try and get through checkpoints guarded by revenue agents, either stealthily or otherwise. And the moonshine itself is fragile, so while driving the wagon, if you drive aggressively or off the road, you'll ruin the product and ruin your chance of making any cash at it. The Moonshine Shack itself is also pretty nice, with its own bar and band upgrade that you can hang out with friends in, drink your own moonshine, and just be social. You can also play the instruments in the bar, which is a lot more fun than you'd think it would be for being an animation. The final role added to the game was the Naturalist, where we meet Harriet and Gus. Harriet's a naturalist and the role's namesake. She gives you the know-how and gear to sedate and sample animals that you hunt, rewarding you for samples in complete sets. Transversely, if you kill animals, she will become upset at you, spray you with bug spray, I guess, and you won't be able to talk to her for like 5 in-game minutes, or 5 real-life minutes. This also introduced legendary animals, both in the open world, through random encounters, and through specific missions Harriet can give you. In these missions you hunt and track down the animals, sedating them for a sample. Transversely, you can also kill and skin these animals to give in at the trader's table or with Gus, who's a trapper and encourages the hunting of these beasts. He offers some pretty unique clothes for the skins of the varying legendary animals. And by unique clothes, I literally mean coats with animal heads as hoods. But that's all the roles and specific mission type things that can be done in the world of Red Dead Online. As well as that, there are a few neat things to do in the open world, such as the many dynamic events, moonshiner checkpoints, outlaw hideouts, and other simple tasks like helping a lost traveler get home. In the towns around the world, you can go to stores and buy new clothes, guns, equipment, and foodstuffs. Go to the barbers for a haircut, and go to the many bars to vibe and drink in, as well as play poker at different tables around the world. Now, I really enjoy the content we've gotten over the past 4 years that Red Dead Online has been out and available to play. There are some glaring issues which hold it back from being a better, more cohesive experience. That includes how much free roam content and immersive content from the single player that hasn't been included or that has been taken out over the course of the game. From dynamic events like duelists to the entire movement and looting system being gutted and sped up to make the game more PvP friendly. There's a lot of reasons why I don't like this. It makes the game world feel empty. Your character doesn't feel like a part of the world that they're in, and it generally feels like nothing you do has any impact, which ruins a lot of what made traveling the single player world so enjoyable. The content and the missions themselves really suffers from the signature Rockstar logic that we come to expect, like the rule systems being way too similar to GTA Online's businesses, with the rules being extremely basic and moving up the rules doesn't hold much weight or sense of progression that should be here in a game like this. This extends to many missions being go to an area, kill enemies, take a hostage, or find a valuable item, and then get chased back to the place you need to deliver the hostage or item to. This holds true for most of the bounty hunter, moonshiner, trader, and legendary animal activities and missions. This isn't to say we haven't had any good content so far, but it's disappointing to see something that could have been so good get such poor treatment. And that poor treatment continues with where we are right now. As of now, we have had 5 roles, which are the bulk of the content, and it's in dire need of meaningful expansions and variety. A main storyline, the one focusing on Mrs. Leclerc and her revenge, being unfinished. It doesn't appear to be getting a finale like we expected or anyone would expect to. The game still suffers bugs and issues from the release of the beta version of the game, and a game world that can be interesting and fun, especially with friends, but for the majority it is lacking and isn't good for much more than a mess around every 6 months or so for a couple of hours at the maximum. A true testament to the poor way Rockstar have handled the game is probably best shown for Yangi's Ultimate Red Dead Update Bundle, which I've included a link to below, in which he goes and draws out an initial 5-year 11 major update roadmap to what can be done to bring RDR2 where it should be, while fixing the issues, and unlike many takes I see on improvements that can be made, Yangi does a fantastic job of making realistic and thoughtful changes which are achievable in the way Red Dead Online is structured. Honestly, if Rockstar took even half of the ideas he has and put them on board, it would drastically improve Red Dead Online, and thinking of what could have been can be a depressing thought. I highly recommend checking out the roadmap. It is incredibly detailed and well thought out, with such a fascinating take on where Red Dead Online can go in the future. Apart from Yangi, there have been countless posts and vouchers for different content patches and ideas that Rockstar could add to Red Dead Online. From wrenches to heists to map expansions to small meaningful additions and changes, if only they shared the love and care for the game that their community does. A game like this has so much potential for content and role-playing opportunities that's wholly different and distinct from GTA that it really is a pure shame that we aren't going to see any significant updates for the foreseeable future at least. Going back to the newswire and what we can expect from Red Dead Online for the foreseeable future, it honestly doesn't look good from a development standpoint, with the majority of the team working on the game being pushed to GTA 6, and Rockstar minimizing content on Red Dead Online to focus on their newest title. It is extremely unlikely that we're ever going to see another meaningful update to Red Dead Online, at least until the release of GTA 6. And even then, I doubt the new iteration of GTA Grand Theft Auto Online that comes with it won't still require the same attention the main game gets. It seems that barring a potential miracle happening, the game has really been left behind to be forgotten by Rockstar forever. But speaking of miracles, one thought that is stuck in my head: it seems like the only way we could ever see something like Yangi's ultimate concept come to life would be if a dedicated group of modders, another studio or developer that is able to take over the dev cycle of Red Dead Online going forward, was able to come and do that. A team that is fully dedicated to Red Dead Online, who understand what the game needs to meaningfully change, and a team who are determined to make something great out of the mess. Now, I understand that this isn't going to happen. The IP is a big one for Rockstar, and with the risk of another Grove Street Games eventuality, this isn't going to happen. But hey, it's nice to dream. On the more realistic side of things, where are we as a Red Dead community? The enjoyment to be found in the base game is finite, and eventually the majority of the dedicated players are gonna leave when they feel they've got everything they can out of the game. And the only real place where we can see Red Dead Online be used as a constant and growing experience is with the extremely talented and dedicated RP community, who honestly have held Red Dead Online on their backs for a while now. I hope that continues, and that they can keep providing updates and new content and experiences the Rockstar are clearly not willing or perhaps able to do. But until the day that the fun runs out, I would still suggest that you give the game a go. Play through what you enjoy, get some friends involved, and simply make the most of what we've been given. But make no mistake, we're already at a point where we can say, definitively, that Red Dead Online is Red Dead in the water. Whew. Well, that was a hefty one. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you all enjoyed it. And sure, if you did, you could give this a wee like, a wee subscribe, and a comment with your thoughts on it. Be great if you could. It was a class experience to make, from grabbing the footage with all the boys to writing an actual script and putting it all together. It's been fun. Big shout out to the lads who made the footage possible. Isak Mani, whose name I butcher every time. AboveAverageAndrew, who lives up to his name. And the co-host with the most toast, Joe MCC Plays himself. I'd also say all the other randos who joined us for our walk through Valentine and beyond. But here, anyway folks, see you in the next one. Peace out.